Hello, Delaware Food Pharmacy families. Thank you for joining us for another Dash Diet video. My name is Shannon and I'm a registered diet technician and chef. Let's get started. Peppers have a lot of power. They come in all different sizes and colors. Some are spicy and others are sweet. You can get them fresh, frozen, dried, or even canned. One thing is certain, peppers are internationally relied upon for flavor. All varieties are excellent sources of vitamins A and C, along with potassium, folic acid, and fiber. The spicy ones even liven up food, which can help ease the need for added salt. Today we're going to be doing a pepper deep dive, and I have a lot of different varieties of peppers for you all to see. Some of them you've probably seen a million times, others you may not have. I have our standard bell pepper. And they come in such pretty colors to just brighten up anything you can imagine. I like the yellow and the red and the orange. The green too. Green is a little bit less sweet. Actually, all bell peppers start off as green, and as they mature, they get into being the different colors. The most sweet of them is the red pepper, which is personally my favorite. Oh, look, I got some dirt with you. All right. At any rate, they're the most sweet. And they all just provide a nice crunch and texture, and they're excellent for so many things. We also have the other end of the spectrum, which are our more flavorful, spicy peppers, or hot peppers. This is a poblano. This one is your jalapeno, and these are habaneros. So habaneros are really, really, really hot. If you like super hot things, these are your friends. These are your go-to. There's also other peppers that have been processed. So we have hot sauce and green chilies that are fire roasted. Another kind of roasted pepper would be the red pepper. And my favorite are the chipotles that I believe are in adobo. So they have different tops and everything, but they have a decent shelf life. And we can use all of these products to help add flavors to things without increasing salts. In order to use any of these fresh peppers, the main thing we have to do is know how to cut them. So we'll start with the bell peppers first, and I'm just going to go with my favorite, which again is the red bell pepper here. With any kind of cutting, I try really hard to have that flat base. So I have a chef knife, just like you all got in your kit, and I try to make sure it's not going to teeter-totter off the table there. It's a lot of T's. And we're just going to cut down, okay? And you can see the inside of it. So with this, now we have a flat base. And I actually learned something I thought was kind of interesting. The reason bell peppers are called bell peppers is because before they had been, when they first were discovered or found in Central America from people from Europe, they had a longer center part, and when they were in the wind, they would actually breeze back and forth, and they sounded like bells because of the hollow outside. I thought that was kind of interesting. At any rate, once we have our flat base, we can cut our other sides right down, okay? So now we have some pretty nice, clean pieces of pepper. You can even use the bottom part and cut it off. But you still have this bit of fiber here. So usually I'll cut that right out. Comes right out nice and easy. Okay. I'm going to put some in this little tray. And depending on what you're doing with your peppers is how you're going to then make the next steps. Okay, so I'll take this center part out for all three of them. Just watch what you're doing. Be a little careful on it. Do. And some people cut their peppers with this side down. Some people set them with this side down. Whatever feels more comfortable to you, I would say go with it. Just always make sure you're watching your hands. So for peppers, the way that we hold our knife is consistent for anything that we're cutting. We're going to hold it with our thumb on the bottom part of the knife and our forefinger on the other side. Bottom three fingers on the handle, and kind of always have this area as your hand space. Use your other hand to hold the actual food. And again, for a julienne cut, which is what we're going to do, slices, strips, we're going to push forward, okay? Always pushing forward, okay? So this is going to look like a nice julienne cut, and these could be used for like a vegetable crudité, just snacks. You can make them bigger or smaller. And even if you wanted to roast them, if you were going to roast them, I would take this whole thing and you would just cut it into a big piece like this. I'm actually going to turn these up because I feel like they're rolling all over the place. Okay. And then I'll show you how we would do a dice cut. We can take this same julienne cut here, turn them so they're all the same size, and we would take our knife again, just like this, and push forward. And now we have nice tiny little dices that you could saute for chili, red beans and rice, stir fry, anything you might want to use with it. Now we're going to cut one of the spicy or hot peppers. I did get 3 of them. We have a jalapeno, a poblano, and an habanero. And they are in degrees of heat. This is the least hot, this is kind of middle, and this is the most hot. The most important thing you can remember when you're cutting hot peppers is to wash your hands after you've cut them. The heat in them, the spice will stay on your fingers, and if you touch your face, you'll burn yourself. It's really pretty intense. So there's 2 things. The seeds have a lot of the heat in them. So once the seeds are removed, they're not as hot. And again, just cutting them small enough so that they're not overwhelming your food. And I'm going to just work probably with the jalapeno. It's something most people are familiar with, and you've probably even had things like jalapeno poppers. Same kind of concept with it. I would definitely cut off a side. And then I have this like flat base. But for this, if I was going to add jalapenos to something, I could cut out the strip if I needed to. I don't really need to. Let's cut out a little bit of it because that will lessen the heat on it. And with this, I would do probably a tiny dice. I am a pansy when it comes to heat. I do realize other people are not. So if you want big chunks of jalapenos, knock your socks off. This is just what I would do. Okay. I'm going to make little slices. Okay. Cut them down so that they're kind of fine. And then we'll do the same thing. Turn the other side, push forward, and make tiny dices for your quesadillas, tacos, chilies, chicken, fish, whatever you want to put them on. Go for it. This would be a nice small dice of the jalapenos. And again, right after this, I have to go wash my hands, my knife, and my board to make sure that I don't burn anything. So now we're on to our pre-prepared peppers. And you'll see these in any grocery store and at most restaurants. You've seen these products. I'm sure you're familiar with them. This one is probably the most common. It is from Goya. It's just a standard hot sauce. I know in my house we have I think Frank's Red Hot, and it's red. But there's lots of different colors, like this one, green one. So don't be afraid to experiment and see what level of heat and or color that you prefer. They hold for a super long time. So the nice thing is when you buy them, you don't have to buy one again for a while. Then we have the diced green chilies. So these come canned, and I use them in things like enchiladas. I'll use them in chilies, sometimes in tacos. They're pretty mild. Anything that I get in a can or a jar like this, sometimes I might rinse it just because of the salt level in it. I might not. It just depends on what else I'm adding to the product. But they're generally pretty easy. They last a long time. You just get it and dump it. Then we have our chipotles. These are my fave. I'm a big fan of the smoked flavor. And when you open it, you can smell the smoked flavor almost immediately. Chipotles are something that when they're heated, and most peppers are actually, when they're heated, there's more spice to them than when they're cold. So just be aware that if it's heated up, it's going to taste hotter than if you like steal some of it out of the fridge in the middle of the night. It's not going to have the same kind of kick. All right. And then we have no heat at all, which is your standard roasted red peppers. Roasted red peppers are super easy to make. You would actually take any of your peppers, red ones obviously, cut them or leave them whole, roll them in olive oil, and just put them in the oven, and they get like dehydrated. And then you can cut them up, put them in some olive oil, and they'll last a really long time. Let's see, these kind of look like, well, I guess they kind of look like little strips, almost like the juliennes that we did. Thanks again for joining us today. I hope it was helpful. In our next video, we'll be making brown rice. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to your care team at Christiana.